This is an MJA Inc. Investigations warning. This MJA podcast is rated E for explicit. Some details of a case and language used on this podcast might be upsetting to some of our listeners. Listeners' discretion is advised. And for those who are still with us, kick back and enjoy the show. Welcome to our MJ podcast. This series, Their Death is in Question. This is episode 2, part 2, The Mysterious Death of Courtney Heater. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for tonight's show. Joining me later will be our co-host, Olivia. Our very special guest on this episode will be Debbie Heater, a mother on a mission to seek justice for her dead daughter, Courtney Heater. It's a very gripping story you don't want to miss. We are coming to you from Hudson, Florida, on the Gulf of Mexico. Here is another sample of an internet romance that turned abusive and deadly. Courtney Heater thought she had found love on the internet. She moved to Columbus County, North Carolina to be with her new love interest in his home. But things were not what they seemed to be. Courtney's new love interest was a heroin addict. Some 17 months later, on February 2nd, 2020, Courtney Heater was found deceased at her residence that she shared with her boyfriend. Courtney Heater's cause of death was ruled as a self-induced accidental drug overdose. Courtney wasn't known to be a drug user. This might have been an open and shut case. If I hadn't seen the photos of the injuries from her being abused by her boyfriend, I've seen photos of Courtney Heater at the morgue. The photos were injuries that screamed out that Miss Heater was tortured right before her death. There's no question about it. This is just looking at the photos, for we haven't had time to study the photos yet. So, it's not a big leap that Miss Heater was held down and given a lethal dose to kill her. Some of the injuries could be proven by experts as to what happened on that deadly day. I seen the morgue photos of injuries on Miss Heater's shins from the middle of her leg down to just above her ankle. The injuries have the very same shape and they're about 2 inches apart. Folks, the only way to get these precise injuries, the victim would have had to been tied to a kitchen chair. Since the boyfriend took pleasure in abusing Miss Heater, we believe he caused the injuries. We already know what he used and how he used it to inflict the injuries. As I said, the injuries look identical. It could have only been done one way. But at this time, we can't release what we know until we file paperwork to get the cause of death overturned from the evidence turned over to Mja by Debbie Heater, the victim's mother. At this time, there's enough documented circumstantial evidence to grant a full-scale investigation. Mja hasn't even touched the surface of this case yet, for we have had a lot of movement on several other cases at this time. In this episode, Olivia and I will be interviewing Debbie Heater, the mother of the victim, Courtney Heater. Debbie Heater is another mother on a mission. Just like the 2 mothers we had on our first episode of this series, their death is in question. Debbie Heater is seeking justice for her dead daughter, Courtney Heater. May you gain what you seek. Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, Olivia will be on the line with our very special guest, Debbie Heater, a mother on a mission. Be back in a moment with Their Death is in Question. Welcome back to our MJA podcast. This series, Their Death is in Question. The mysterious death of Courtney Heater. On the line is our amazing co-host, Olivia. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm just peachy. Joining us on the show is a very special guest, Debbie Heater, who is another mother on a mission, seeking justice for her dead daughter, Courtney Heater. Welcome to the show, Debbie, and how are you doing tonight?
I'm okay. Thank you very much for having me.
It's our pleasure. And can you tell us what made you reach out to MJA Inc. Investigations for help?
I want to get answers in reference to my daughter's death. I'm not getting any help from anybody in the sheriff's office, and I need your help.
And Debbie, when did your daughter die?
February 2nd of 2020.
And how old was she?
24.
And did Courtney have any children?
No.
And what was Courtney's boyfriend's name?
Julian Phipps.
Did they rule your daughter's death and drug overdose at the scene?
Yes.
And what county and state did this happen in?
Columbus County, North Carolina.
And Debbie, who notified you about your daughter's death?
The medical examiner.
And was there an autopsy conducted on her body?
Yes.
Was there a tox screen conducted?
Yes.
And what did the talk screen say?
According to them, that she had an accidental intoxication of fentanyl and heroin.
And was there any type of investigation concerning Courtney's death?
None.
And could you tell us a little about your daughter before she met her boyfriend?
Courtney was an athlete. She played ice hockey, rugby, Irish dance. She was a volunteer athletic trainer for the high school. She was happy, made any room light up. She was every guy's best friend and every girl's best friend. She was there for anybody. She was always joking. Would give anything to help anybody. Was there whenever you needed her.
Okay.
She was my best friend.
And when did you learn things weren't going well with the relationship?
Oh, the first time I saw him, I knew it wasn't quite right. And from the very beginning, because he was in jail for drugs.
Okay. And when did you learn that Courtney was being abused by her boyfriend?
The week of Thanksgiving, which would be 2019, around, I would say November 24th of 2019.
And Olivia, do you have any questions at this time?
Yeah, I just have one question. She passed away in North Carolina. Did she go to school down there? Did she go to college down there? How did she end up living down in North Carolina? Did she just follow the boyfriend?
She met him online, and he was not clear that he was from North Carolina. She thought he was from Illinois.
Oh.
And he offered, once he started talking to her, he's got a son, a toddler that was in Illinois, that he would come every other month to visit. And either they would send the child to him or he would come out here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she started meeting him, how she moved down there. He said that his mother was an RN, Crystal Phipps, and she's in charge of the ER department and the nursing at the hospital.
Okay.
And she wouldn't have to keep going to college and working. She could fix her up and get her a job and schooling if she would come down there. So she jumped at that chance. She met this family and thought they were good. They go to church. He's good to his son.
Sounded like his mother just wanted a babysitter for her son, you know.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. They joked in the beginning, he did, that Courtney was going to be the nanny because his child's mother was asking about her and how he introduced her, that she was going to, when she met her, is that she's going to be the nanny for the son, for the child.
Oh my God.
But she really was the nanny for him because the family made her responsible for him doing drugs. The reason for all the beatings and the abuse was she was the wall between him and drugs, and his family held her accountable.
His family held her accountable. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds like his family has issues too.
Yes, they all do heroin. His drug of choice
boy.
is fentanyl and heroin.
And Mark, that's a drug where you really can't ever get off of, right?
It's very hard
Yes.
to kick, very hard.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a pause for the cause, and we'll be back with Mja Heater, a mother on a mission. Be back in a moment.
been searching in the dark, trusting every clue I found. But the truth has not been told. Is every corner of these woods is hollow. I can't see in the dark.
Welcome back to our MJ podcast, this series. Their death is in question. Episode 2, Part 2, The Mysterious Death of Courtney Heater. We are on the line with Olivia and our special guest, Debbie Heater, a mother on a mission seeking justice for her dead daughter, Courtney Heater.
Debbie, if foul play is involved in your daughter's death, do you have a suspect or suspects in mind that are responsible for this?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and do you think it escalated from the prior abuse?
Yes, I do.
All right. And is it true that photos from the prior abuse were taken?
Yes.
All right. And do you think Courtney had time to escape the abusive relationship?
No.
All right. After she moved to Columbus County, North Carolina, how much contact did you have with your daughter?
As much as he allowed. He pretty much isolated her. So sometimes, some months I had many times during the day, and then there was months I wasn't allowed any.
Oh, brother. You and Courtney did have a close relationship. I think you mentioned this before, right? You were very close to her.
Yes.
All right. And you met her. Did you meet her boyfriend? Yes, I believe you said so.
Yes.
All
yes.
right. And what did your daughter, did she ever tell you anything about him?
Yes.
All right. In the beginning, what did you think about the relationship? Did you think it was okay, or you were leery of it from the beginning?
I was very leery from the beginning because he looked like no other boyfriend she's ever had. Plus, he's from another state. He wasn't very clear about that. And when she said that he's trying to get over drugs, we're not around people with drugs.
Right.
I didn't feel she was equipped to know what to look for.
Okay. And did you ever try to talk to Courtney about her move to Columbus County, North Carolina?
Many times.
All right. And how much contact have you had with law enforcement concerning Courtney's death?
Very little. It's always been initiated by me, and I was always felt that I couldn't go there to ask any. Very, very little.
All right. In a perfect world, what would you want to see happen concerning your daughter's death?
I want answers. I want justice. And I want the responsible party in jail.
Okay. And how many people have people ever tried to talk you out of going down this rabbit hole to seek the truth?
Many. I can't even count.
All right. And since Courtney's death, have you talked to her boyfriend or anyone in his family?
Yes. I've been threatened, and I've never been told by the boyfriend what exactly happened, only by the father.
Now, is he on drugs too, the father? The whole family?
We've discovered through a prior investigator, he's a drug dealer.
Oh, my God.
And one thing, if I can add, and this is something from the very beginning that never sat well. And again, Courtney is not experienced about being people like this. And once she found out before she even moved out there, and the whole time when she was out there, that the father rents, he has lots of property he's paid cash for. And he rents to the drug dealers called the Drug Hole. It's also called Green Acres and the Pit. But when she talked about it was always called the Drug Hole, he rents to the people who give or sell him his kids' drugs.
Jeez. You know, I'm always suspicious of people that pay cash for everything. You know, there's some around here that cause suspicion because all they do is they deal with cash. And you find out, unfortunately, what that's about. And it's along the lines of, Mark, we won't talk about that, right?
Okay.
He owns
the underground, or I'll put it that way, or drugs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. He's known, my daughter told me that, and this is a town of only 1,700 people, Nakina, North Carolina. And Columbus County is the county, and that's only got 54,000 people. Anyone in the town in Nakina that has a family member wants to sell their house or somebody dies, they go to him, Juan Phipps, and ask him, does he want to buy their house? The house that Courtney was living in, she paid $65,000 for that in 3 weeks in cash.
Mm.
Oh.
And that's not the only
there's
property.
Red flags all over the place there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not the only property he owns. They have 2 homes. The mother has a home where she was not in contact with him, but now is since Courtney died, right over the border in South Carolina, North Myrtle Beach. And the family home is in Nakina, right next door to Courtney's, where she was living. But you can't see the house from the road. Because there's a cattle fence and a lot of trees and a burned out car. It's very, very, very redneck looking. I'm sorry to say it like that, but it is what it is.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. Okay.
And Debbie, you had your daughter cremated, correct?
Yes.
And you are also in possession of her ashes?
Yes.
And I know this might be a little personal, but what kind of things do you say to your daughter while looking at her urn of ashes?
It's hard to say anything to her ashes because it's so painful. I look at it and it's hard to understand that that's her now. It's hard and painful to accept. I take some comfort that she's with me and no one else can hurt her, but she's got to go back to consecrated ground. I can't keep her forever. I'm hoping to hang on to her till I die, but it hurts a lot.
Okay. And did you ever think it was possible that Courtney took this drug overdose without any help?
No, it's not possible at all. I have no doubt.
In your opinion, what do you think happened to your daughter on that deadly day?
I think that she was getting beaten and assaulted over the last few days before she lived, and it continued. On the day she died, she was pretty bad. She was pretty sick because she had 2 broken ribs that weren't from CPR. They were already broken from a few weeks prior. She had pneumonia and pulmonary edema. She already has asthma. That's one of her medical conditions. I think he's told me in the past. Well, first let me start with this. Courtney said that their relationship was either really good or really bad. There was no in between. She told me the last time I saw her that she kept a weapon in her front pocket at all times. She had a bag packed at all times. The neighbors told me she was always running out of there with her clothes and backpack down the street. I pretty much am confident to know that she no way would take this drug. She can't already breathe. She can't cough anything up with broken ribs. He pretty much she had to die because he was seeking custody of his child. and this would have been the third documented that I've been able to find sheriff report that would be on him assaulting her. And with each one that I found documented, it's gotten worse. And he already knows that she's escaped to my house. And the most dangerous time to escape an abusive relationship is when you're leaving.
Yes.
And he made her come back when I already had her back home for a day. So this beating got pretty bad, and I'm pretty positive that he had to kill her because she wasn't going to walk out of there and be able to talk about it. It ruined his chance to get his kid.
Okay. And do you think there is enough evidence to grant a death inquest or a grand jury?
Absolutely.
And Debbie, is there anything you would like to add?
I'm just grateful for this opportunity to finally have someone to really, truly investigate her homicide, her murder.
Well, that's what we plan on doing, and from the material you've sent us so far, I would say everything is in our favor. And
I agree.
and like I say, we'll just keep chipping away because we know what their answers are going to be, and but we'll just keep chipping away at them, and they're till it gets down. There's no other choice where they have to listen. They have to hold themselves accountable because they probably didn't follow the proper protocols and just things of that nature. And I know that might sound a little, but once you get the little things, you can start chipping away at the big things.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
See, the problem is everyone that looks at her case, they put the blame on Courtney or they put the blame on me. And this has nothing to do with me and Courtney. This has everything to do with her and Julian. And they
Right.
can say she was a drug addict all they want. They can say whatever. The point is that no one has ever explained the condition of her body. And she didn't die because there's drugs in her system, and that's cardiac arrest. And it first has to be explained about the condition of her body.
Yes,
Nobody that overdoses on drugs, their body looks like that.
that is
And
correct.
that's what's suspicious.
Uh, yeah, well, I can say right now on the air, some of the damage that was inflicted, it she had to be tied to a chair to get those injuries. And so we're going to be speaking a lot about that, and because that's the only way you can get these type of injuries, you have to be in a setting position, and more likely, like I said, she would have to be tied up because I don't look for her to just sit there and take the punishment. So, Olivia, is
No,
there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, Debbie, my heart goes out to you. Nobody
thank you.
should lose their child like that. Your daughter seems like a wonderful human being, and she didn't deserve what happened to her. I was in an abusive relationship. It was not physical. It was mental. And,
Okay.
it's very easy for outsiders, I'm not talking about us, to say, well, she should have just, it's not that easy because you get used
No.
to it. It becomes the normal. It becomes the normal.
Yes.
And then you get that fear because he used to hold things over my head. Well, if you leave me, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to ruin your
Yes.
name. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But I would put your trust with Mark. He's an amazing individual, and he'll help you find your answers. And what is going on with the police in the South? It seems like so many of these cases, it's, what are they, bought by these criminals, these cops?
Yes.
I don't get it. And I'm wondering if, in this case, since this family has so much money, if they bought the sheriffs, I just don't know.
Oh, they have.
Mark.
Oh, they
Yeah.
have. They absolutely have. Just now, the FBI has went in and pulled the hard drives at the sheriff's office.
Good. They should do that more often.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have a quote for you all. If you get tired, learn to rest, but do not quit. Author unknown. I want to thank our co host, Olivia, for being on the show tonight. A very special thanks to our guest, Debbie Heater, for coming on the show. She is a mother on a mission, seeking justice for her dead daughter, Courtney Heater. Always remember, folks, that if you ever get bored with nothing to do, well, take a walk deep into the woods. You might be surprised at what you might find. I want to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning in tonight, for y'all have been so kind. That's the end of our podcast, the series. Their death is in question. The mysterious death of Courtney Heater. We say to all of you, good night from Hudson, Florida.
And I'm haunted in a dream. I don't know how long I've been asleep. I gotta wake up. Oh, but the cycle it just repeats. 'Cause I'm haunted in a dream. Letting go. And I'm haunted in a dream. I don't know how long I've been asleep. I gotta wake up. But the cycle it just repeats. 'Cause I'm haunted in a dream. I don't know how long. I don't And I'm haunted in a dream. I don't know how long I've been asleep. I gotta wake up. Oh, but the cycle it just repeats. 'Cause I'm haunted in a dream. Letting go. I don't know.